In today's video, we are going to be talking about enthusiast tech prices, and from here on in, which way are they going to go? Now, a few months ago, we talked about GPU prices going up, and I could see some trends already developing, as well as the actual just PC parts in general related to this particular thing going on in the world right now. And looking back, we did give out some very solid buying advice here at Tech Yes City, and hopefully you guys during this period didn't get ripped off when it came to buying PC parts. But what is going to happen from here on in? Well, I'll do my best to see what's going on right now and make some observations and see if we can identify that trend, which is very well indeed your friend. But sometimes it might not be your friend if that's not the trend you were hoping for. So straight away, GPU prices, they're pretty bad and they're probably going to remain relatively bad. And the reason for that is because we've got now the used market is a big factor when it comes to building PCs. A lot of people weigh in the price of a used PC and then maybe just slapping a graphics card in it and getting really good price performance. But basically when it comes to building a new PC, no one's gonna go out and build a new PC and then slap a really old graphics card in it, or maybe very few percentage versus the amount of people that are doing the opposite. And so what we've got here in the PC world is pent-up demand for newer graphics cards, but still at the same time, a lot of people are using first, second, third, fourth gen Intel CPUs, some people are using first gen Ryzen stuff. There is still a lot of demand for those older used parts. And so we've got that demand there. We've got demand for new CPUs like Ryzen 3rd gen, now Intel's 10th gen. And so when people are buying the new components, they all want, in general, the newer graphics cards. And that is one trend that you'll see. So basically with GPU prices, they're not going to get magically better, especially for the stuff that gamers want. And the gamers generally want 10 series and better, and on the AMD side, RX 470 and better. And so you're going to see still a lot of demand for graphics cards. And with that, the prices are going to remain mediocre to bad. And the thing with this advice is I'm basing this on where I live at the moment in Australia, and more specifically Southeast Queensland. But that being said, it's still, Australia is a competitive place for tech, and it actually has quite a healthy market when it comes to the supply of new PC parts, and especially used PC parts too. But moving forward from here, if you're looking to build a new gaming PC in the next few months, it is going to be a lot easier than it was trying to build a gaming PC 3 months ago when this stuff first started. And the reason being is now the supply chain is being alleviated. A lot of supply has been ramped up to accommodate this demand. But on the flip side of things, what we've seen with demand is that, at least locally here, demand has fallen off big time, at least compared to what it was 3 months ago. So now you've got all this supply coming through for power supplies, cases, SSDs, RAM, and all that other good stuff that goes into a PC, but you don't have the demand there. And so what this is going to cause naturally is a drop in prices. So if you are looking to build a PC in the next few months, especially brand new, what you're going to see is decent prices now start to come back into effect. And some further good news on top of this is that I'm already seeing this with things like SSDs. And when you look at SSDs, the reason why you're seeing the prices drop on SSDs so quickly is that they're a lot quicker to ship in internationally from places like China where they're made. And because with SSDs, and especially DDR3 and DDR4 memory, for example, because they're going freighted by air, they get to the destination a lot quicker than by a boat, which is how a lot of cases and a lot of power supplies are shipped internationally. And so what you're seeing with SSD and RAM prices, not only are they falling, but the production has ramped back up in the factories over in China. And you're also seeing, because they're able to be shipped quickly, you're seeing this effect come into play sooner as opposed to cases and power supplies, which I feel will follow this trend very soon, in that they will also be back in stock and come down in prices. Because the demand really, there was this massive wave of demand that already came through, and I would put it down to roughly double that of Christmas. That's what I felt it was here locally. It was like 2 Christmases happening at once in the middle of April and May. and you're left scratching your head. You're like, what is going on? I've never seen anything like this in my life in terms of just demand for tech products. And we hit that big thing that you always hear about in life, and that is that there is always a balance to everything in life. So what we've seen with this demand is, and here's the balance right here, you've seen the demand shoot over, and now the demand is starting to come back under the balance line. And so this is for enthusiast tech PCs. And so what we're seeing right now is this demand that's under what the supply is at. So what's going to happen now is because it's becoming, and prices naturally become cheaper, people will then start going, oh, it's so cheap to buy a new PC. And then that balance starts going back up to the equilibrium back again. So what I'm thinking you'll see with, in general with tech prices, say for instance, CPU, RAM, and SSDs, I'm not sure about graphics cards, so don't hold me to my word on graphics cards. What I'm seeing with the majority of tech products is what you'll see in the next few months is very cheap prices. So what I feel going forward is basically in the next few months, it will be some of the best times to buy and pick yourself up a bargain on new enthusiast tech products. So now that we've touched on the new market, what about the used market? And here's one thing that I actively participate in. I love flipping gaming PCs. It's one of the backbones here of the channel, and I also do a lot of stuff behind the scenes that I really enjoy. And so basically, in a nutshell, the used market is always going to have this buffer between the new market. So unfortunately for used PC resellers, it's going to go down with the prices of new parts as well. So during COVID, those new PC parts were right up sky high. Same with the used PC prices. Everything was going in sync. And the same thing is going to happen with used PCs going in the next few months. So as much as I know a lot of you guys out there love used price performance, and even a lot of you guys love reselling used PCs, I mean, whatever, I don't mind being the bearer of bad news, because that's what this channel's built on. It's always built on just telling it how it is. I'm not gonna hold back and say,
oh, it's gonna be okay, guys. It's gonna be awesome. Like, yeah, you're gonna keep selling them used PCs like you did yesterday.
Basically, I feel like the next few months are going to be some of the most competitive months you'll ever see in your life. And that's with that balance that we talked about before. So in the next few months, you might only make a couple of bucks or even break even on your gaming PCs, but that's just the nature of the beast. So hopefully during that previous time, you sort of made a bit of a buffer to account for the bad times ahead. Now there is of course that elephant in the room to talk about. And we're not talking about the guy who's 2 meters tall. We're talking about helicopter money. And this came in during the first wave, when no one could go out and spend that money on holidaying, or they could go down to a place like the Cass. But this time around, at least in Australia, it's going to be different, where things have all opened up again and people will get that money, and they most likely won't spend it on a gaming PC this time around. But that being said, it will be a healthy bump in demand during the next month in Australia. So if you're in a country that has this helicopter money getting thrown around, and you know the dates surrounding that, then I do suggest getting some gaming PCs ready, especially if you want to make a few bucks. But after that, I feel things will return back to that downward trend. So now we've laid all that news out on the table. If you guys enjoyed this video, then be sure to hit that like button for us. And also let us know in the comment section below, are things a little bit different in your country? Because I am basing today's predictions and news a lot on what I experience here in Australia and what I see and what I do when I talk to people at retailers and also people who sell PCs locally here. So that's how I'm able to formulate my opinion, though I love reading each and every one of your opinions in the comment section below. So do make sure you drop a comment too. And now we've got the question of the day here, which comes from Carlo Sensi, and they asked this question on this P106 graphics card video that we did, and they said, what if I don't have integrated video? Can I still make it work? And the answer to that is no, you can't make that P106 work if you don't have the integrated graphics, because that's the port you have to use, because the P106 doesn't have a video out. Though I have heard of people soldering on HDMI ports and getting them to work that way, so that may be something you want to look into. In terms of how the card stacks up with the latest drivers, I actually do have one still at the studio here, so maybe I could put it to the test and see if I can get it working with the latest drivers and play Warzone. If you guys want to see a video on that, then make sure you let us know down below. And with that aside, if you stayed this far and you're enjoying that Tech Yes content and you want to see it the moment it drops, be sure to hit that sub button, ring that bell, and I'll catch you in another tech video very soon. Peace out for now. Bye.